Okay, we're live now. Okay, Mr. Chairman, we're live now.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First, we're going to call to order the regular meeting for Tuesday, November 17th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. We'll start off by taking roll call. Let the minutes please show that present for this meeting were Chairman Michael Krevda, Secretary Sam Spann. Also present is Assistant Law Director Tony Morgan, Assistant Clerk of Council Tara Pete, and Deputy Clerk of Council Lisa Ciofani. And it looks like we also have a new member joining us today, Donald Schiffbauer. Did I pronounce that correctly, Donald?
Nice job, Mr. Krevda.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Use all the help we can get. So with that, let's move on to the minutes. There's an action to approve the minutes of the special meeting that we previously held on Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. I have read the minutes and I have no further comments. Does anybody on the line have any further comments regarding those minutes?
No comments.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting held on Tuesday, October 27th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to reports, which there are none. So we'll then move on to unfinished business. Everybody should have received a memo from Assistant Law Director Tony Morgan regarding ORC 9.41 regarding the payroll certification. We discussed this item during our last meeting, and it appears since that meeting, Tony, you've come up with some broader language pursuant to ORC section 9.142. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I see that the new language reads that the chairperson or the chair's designee shall certify the list containing the names of each person to be paid before a warrant for paycheck or check shall be issued. And such signature shall certify that each person has been appointed and is employed pursuant to Chapter 124. Electronic signatures are acceptable for this certification. So with that, Tony, I'll open it up for comments.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I had sent out a memo to you, to the commission earlier about section 941, which is why we certify the payroll. And we've received a lot of feedback on that. And there are, as indicated in the first memo, and I don't know if you have been copied on the information that Tara Peak got for us, what other cities are doing. And it ranges everywhere from just pretending it's not there at all, which I don't recommend,
Right.
certifying every time, to something in between. So the language that I put together, what you just read, is something you could adopt if you choose to, and it's open to either interpretation. So you don't have to pick one thing over the other. But what you do have to decide is, and that's the reason our auditor, April Wilkerson, is there. She is sort of lobbying for a broader interpretation where it's not certified every single time. So I wanted you to hear from her and get her opinion on it, and then decide which of the two ways you want to do it. But the language that I've put before you could go either way. So you don't have to choose one thing or the other, but you do have to decide how you want to interpret it. So if you want to listen to her input, now would be a good time.
All right, April, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So since the implementation of the timekeeping system, everything in payroll is fully electronic. We don't have paper reports like we have in the past. So my biggest concern with making this, trying to convert our now electronic process back to a paper process or even a report process per pay period is that we have a very short period window of time to get payroll approved and uploaded and checked. And I'm concerned that it will slow down the process. So I know that in the past, we gave a lot of information, every payroll, we gave hours worked, we gave basically a sheet per employee of all the detail for the pay period.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if the commission feels that they need that level of detail, or I guess I'm interested in hearing what level of detail do you want? And is that something I can accommodate? And then kind of telling you our electronic processes and kind of some of the restrictions that we have on us at this point. Because I don't have a report available that's even similar to what used to come to the commission.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask you for a comparison between the two, the paper sheets that we received historically in the past compared to the electronic versions today. The last thing I want to do, obviously, is slow down payroll. I'm very sensitive to that. So I'm willing and able to do anything in particular that just doesn't slow down payroll.
Mr. Chairman,
Go
could
ahead,
I,
Tony.
941, the only thing it mentions that has to be on this list are the names of the persons to be paid. So I don't know how that comports with what the auditor has, but that's the only thing, the names and then certification from the Civil Service Commission that these persons are appointed and employed pursuant to Chapter 124. But really the only thing that needs to be on the list is the names of the persons to be paid.
And that would make sense to me because, obviously I don't have any way to track hours as which were on the prior report. I leave that up to the chiefs, obviously, to do. So as long as, for this, obviously, as long as I have the names and I can compare those to the lists that we certified prior to each warrant, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I think that's doable. April, what's your input?
Would you be willing to certify a list at the beginning of the year like you do now? After your testing, you certify a list, and then as things change or as new people are hired, recertify a list? So like maybe quarterly we do a certification as opposed to every pay period?
Yeah, I would be open to that, definitely.
The problem with that is the list that you certify, I was thinking about this and talking to the auditor earlier. The list that you certify are people that are not employed yet. They are just people eligible for employment. So I wonder, what if you certify the list as it is today, and then every time the list changes, somebody's terminated or resigns or we hire new, then we certify again.
That's what I'm suggesting, a list
Right.
similar to what you're already doing. So I would provide you a list of all the sworn officers, all the sworn personnel in police and fire now. And then if we hire new people and there's somebody that comes on that list or falls off, I would send you a new list to recertify.
That makes complete sense to me. And then April, you would be solely responsible for that list or any changes to that list and getting that to the Civil Service Commission?
Sure, I'm happy to do that.
And I think the backup to that is, on a technical level, our office is supposed to get copies of resignations and oaths of office. So that would also trigger us. Sometimes the chiefs forget to get that information to us. So the backup, your office and my office would be able to back each other up on when that list needs certified again.
Okay. That sounds like a good plan.
It sounds workable to me.
So Tony, would we be fine moving forward with the language as it appears here and as I've read?
I believe so.
That
It
covers
does-
all our bases?
It doesn't say how many times you have to certify. It just says that your signature indicates that you are certifying it.
And
Okay.
just so we're clear from the rule standpoint, are we working off the memo that you just received tonight or the memo that was in your packet?
Well, there's no language in the packet memo
Okay.
for a rule. The
Okay.
piece that we sent out tonight had some language for the rule that was read into the record, I believe.
Okay, so we could officially adopt that rule at the next commission meeting.
Yes, I believe.
Could we do it at this meeting?
You're not supposed to adopt per your own rules at the same meeting it's introduced at. So now that
Okay.
you've talked about it and you've seen it, next meeting, we could adopt it officially.
Okay. That works for me. April, does that work for you?
That works fine for me.
All right. And then Sam and Don, do you have any comments? Anything you want to add to the discussion?
No, I think my main concern was pretty similar to yours, is just to make sure that we're covering all of our bases and not slowing payroll down at all. So I think as long as we can do that, then I think that's going to be the route to go.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I think my concerns have been addressed. The only thing that I would like to make clear for the minutes is that your signature is strictly for the purpose of certifying the names on the list, that your signature does not hold you accountable to the accuracy of the time records. It is really just the people that are getting paid for that time period, because if it is indeed the former, then that requires a little bit more discussion. But it sounds like it's just, if there's 26 people getting a paycheck, you certify that those names are on the list and you sign, but you're not attesting to the accuracy of the timekeeping sheets. Is that correct?
Don, that's a good point, Mr. Chairman. The way the language is, you're certifying who is to be paid, not how much.
Okay. All right. And I do agree with the auditor's point about, or the group's discussion about having a list updated every time that it changes. I agree with our chairman that, we don't want to do everything we can to mitigate delays in payroll. And I think between the auditor and Ms. Pete and the chiefs, that a list can be updated and provided to Mr. Krebda as needed to be adopted or certified as it's updated. So I'm good. Thanks for allowing us to discuss it.
Mhm.
Awesome. And then at the next meeting, when we do formally adopt this rule, Mr. Chairman, maybe you would want to name a designee in the event that you are unavailable.
Sam, would you be okay being the designee since you're the most second seasoned person on our commission?
Yeah, I can do that.
Then I will say, it does say the designee should be the secretary. So
Does. And I was going to mention that right after that. So yeah, and you hit it right on the head. So, and I know
I'm not
Tony
sure. Am I the
covered off on
secretary?
that in her memo as well.
you are, Sam.
Okay, good. So Sam will be our designee. And then Tony, just to confirm, moving forward, I'll no longer be required to sign timesheets. And it's really, my signature is only required for these certification lists, and that's it.
Right, that's going to be the interpretation that you're adopting, and that's fine.
Okay.
And we could do that electronically as well, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, that makes things a lot easier these days.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's put something together for the next meeting when we can look to make a motion to approve it then.
Sounds good.
All right. So that's it for unfinished business. We have no actions to take. We have no new business. So is there any other comments or questions before we look to adjourn?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:45 p.m. on Tuesday, November 17th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say nay. Hearing no nays, have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you
Bye.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.